Resolution 2014-216, setting the time and date for a public hearing on December 8th, 2014, at approximately 6:30 p.m. to review and take public comment on proposed SEPA code revision.
Council members, if you recall, last month, early last month, we brought forward some draft changes for the SEPA regulations within the city. Matter of fact, it was junking the existing chapter and coming up with a brand new chapter to strengthen our SEPA regulations and to clarify what those regulations regarding appeals to SEPA determinations. If you recall, in our current codes, if somebody wants to appeal a SEPA, we go with the underlying action, which could mean that a SEPA appeal could be done months after the actual SEPA determination was made. With the new code provisions that we have, that we're proposing, the appeal would be at the front end of the process versus the back end. And what we're looking here tonight is to set public hearing dates so that we can get this code into effect so that we can avoid potential issues down the line with the way the old code reads.
Council questions? Council pleasure? All right, move that forward. Thanks. Next, Resolution 2014-217, authorizing the mayor to sign an agreement with King County Office of Emergency Management regarding the regional framework for disasters and planned events.
This has to do with an agreement that's associated with our emergency management. And often when we reach a crisis involving emergency management where we have to pull resources that we don't have, we need to have an agreement with those parties for resources and personnel. And this basically covers those that would be participating with us as partners in providing resources and personnel when required. Any questions?
Who are the others that have done that?
It could be anybody. What would happen, for example, if we open up our emergency operations center and we had a specific need for shelters or for heavy equipment to assist or supplement what we already have, and we would work through the EOC. They would contact vendors for us, or we may enter a contract with Algona or Auburn to provide such material or manpower, and they would be part of that partnership.
And the same would go if we were asked for help.
Then we would have a contract with them also. And what the contract covers is how we're going to handle payment, insurance costs, if somebody hurt, liability factors. I believe that's all stated in that resolution.
Other council questions? Council pleasure? Move it forward. That brings us to Resolution 2014-218, authorizing the execution of amendment to agreement with Valley Communications for 2015.
Okay, Valley Communications is our primary and only source for communication with the police department. And it's that time, it's this time of the year where we need to review that contract for the next year. We do contemplate an increase of about $17,000, an approximate increase of about $17,000 projected for the year 2015. More than what we paid for services for 2014. But you know, we have no other options. We need to enter this contract with communication.
Council questions?
Okay. So the difference, increase of $3.70 per call. So is the $17,000 just calls, or is there two buckets? There's a call bucket and then the $12,059 for airtime.
I'm looking at the overall budget impact that's been provided for me. information that he compiled, and the information that I have is the overall budget impact would be an increase of about $7,000 over what we paid for the year 2014.
I worked with John on those numbers. And I wasn't sure the 12,000 was taken into consideration, but I can certainly look at it. I did it as a percentage basis on how much it was planned for 2014 versus 13, and then what the rate is now versus next year. But I only knew about the per call rate. I'm not sure I knew about the 12,000. We'll have to look into that a little further.
I shall make sure it's 17,000.
Yeah,
or
me too.
estimate and not 29,000.
Well, that's the number I told him when we talked about it on Friday. So I can certainly come back with a good number for you next week that'll have it incorporated, make sure it doesn't miss that. Okay?
That'd be great. Did you estimate for the 2014 budget, I don't remember off the top of my head, an increase in the Valley-Tom cost, or was
Yes.
it flat?
No, it was an increase.
Were we pretty close?
We were a little low. It's actually higher than I thought it would be. And I don't know if that's due to activity. I guess LT could speak to that.
It'll
Activity,
fluctuate with the
Right.
activity. And,
Do you notice that the activity is higher this year than it was last year?
Really, I wasn't privy to any discussions that did those comparisons.
Okay.
So I don't have an answer for you.
We will look into that, though.
I had a question, does this include the police and fire?
No.
It just-
Only
okay. And the radio system, is that, is the 12,000, that's every year, that's a nominal?
We've been talking about that, and I think he's gonna double check the numbers.
Okay, yeah. I mean, you guys have radio service last year, and before the, it's just yearly rate.
Further council discussion? Council's pleasure?
Appreciate it.
Move forward.
All righty, we'll move that forward. Next up, ordinance 2014-1881, adopting the ad valorem tax levy for the year 2015.
We will. I actually had a meeting with them this week.
We can hope from that.
You know, that's good.
Hey, we're not using smoke here.
We've advanced a long way. So, we received the preliminary numbers from King County Department of Assessment, and they were built into the budget, but I looked at them once again, and I realized actually that I shortchanged the budget $20,000. So we're actually going to receive, supposedly from the county's numbers, $903,000 in 2015, and I put in there about 880 something. So that will be about 15,000 more, which is good because this number that LT just gave us is to take away that money. So we're going to need it. But this is just the regular levy that we passed. We aren't increasing it, although it is going up because of the assessed valuation. And we need to have it passed by the end of November, so that's why we're bringing it to you now. We may get some new numbers by the end of this month, and I'll let you know if we do, but if we don't get them by next week, it doesn't matter because we'll pass what we have, and then they just adjust it. Is there any questions? Does anybody understand, or need to understand more than they do on this? I do have a better understanding this year than I did last year. But one thing I can tell you, and I think I might have spoke about this before at our workshop with the hearing on revenue, was that we can't raise our rates unless we go to a full-blown levy lift to the citizens.
Questions, council? Let's move forward. All righty, that ends the printed agenda, and then item G, that Clint brought up to me, but couldn't make it here tonight. This is the third winter in a row that we have had significant citywide power failure issues, and we do not have backup power at the senior centers. We have gas appliances so we can make hot food, but we cannot keep people warm, and people with oxygen machines can't bring them in to plug in and fill their bottles. So, would council be interested in referring that to the appropriate committee to look at the expense for providing some level of backup power at the senior center?
Well,
Yeah, that's,
Is that human services or is that public works or public safety?
Or finance.
Yeah.
All the above.
combined.
Well, how about we have one from every group meeting?
Well, it should just go to the appropriate committee and then move to the next appropriate committee, I think.
Yeah.
So you probably should start with human services and then move to finance.
One thing I can, if I can speak, one thing I can tell you is that I was speaking with John Calkins when I came in on the day the power was out, and they had power over there because of their generator. And that generator cost them $140,000, but it runs the whole building. So I'm certain we could look at something less expensive to possibly run. The senior service, did you go to the senior center that day? Because it was actually not bad, but it was still dark, and, you know, they do, and also it'd be great for the youth center if we could put those both on there. And then I think it would be important to have the server on there, because even if you can't work at City Hall, you could work at other places that are heated and get into the server. So we talked about offering about the server, but they wouldn't let us put it on the anything else than the good power because it's private circuit. So we need to get somehow to do that.
How much did you say the generator was over at the police station?
$140,000. It's
Commercial.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's got a
commercial
built-in
grade.
diesel tank. It was paid for with fire benefit charge because it powers the entire public safety building.
And it has features that we wouldn't necessarily need for automatic transfer. We could do a manual transfer switch and save some money there on the installation cost and only back up some circuits.
Right.
The staff has talked about this, about maybe we need to bring it to Leanne and council. We'll discuss it too, because it should be something, I think you're right.
Well, were people able to go to the police stations to, like you said, fill up their oxygen tanks or whatnot?
I don't know if they did that, but I know that we went out and helped them. The fire department did.
fire department.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they got oxygen for people, but they did serve some people with that. But Clint was mentioning, at one point, you know, they were projecting that the power was gonna be out through Friday
Right.
midnight. And there are an awful lot of people who, after 3 or 4 days sitting in the dark and cold, being kind of okay in a dark senior center isn't gonna cut it.
No, yeah, right.
So how many seniors were there?
Well, Darcy's not here, but I would say when I was there was like at least 10, and I know that they were there throughout the day. It was great that she could do what she did with it. We'll speak about it at the next meeting when we have our report, but there are a lot of people that stepped up on a day when it was, you know, pretty difficult. So, but yeah, I think that definitely lines, and like you said, it happened last year. It's happening quite a bit all over, and so it'd be better if we could get prepared for that. Maybe we even look into the possibility of getting a grant to help out with it.
The year before that, it was about 3 days without power.
Yeah, with the ice.
Yeah, yeah, so
Maybe we add that to the technology committee meeting, or agenda, to talk about just the server.
Okay.
Yeah, the server could also be, if you got a UPS with batteries, that's what it's called.
That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Just a big rack of batteries, they run off that for a week before they need a generator.
Especially if we'd have been down this Friday night, we'd have needed that because we had a lot of deadlines.
Yeah.
So, not that it's important as people, obviously, but we could make sure that would be helpful.
Plus with the UPS, you guarantee really clean power just for that specific device.
That's the problem, cycle with the generator.
Yeah.
Needs to be silently here.
So yeah, if you just use the generator for charging the batteries and then synthesize big power for that. So, technology and then discuss it with, finance,
Well, I think it should go to human services.
technology, human services, and then.
What do we have?
Well, technology can, well, yeah, we're all the
Yeah, you can
same.
discuss the server part.
We're all
Yeah.
technical.
Yeah, so we can attack it from kind of two different, because I think we need two different solutions.
Mhm.
So, because I don't think $100,000 or even half of that in the budget for this project.
No, but, I mean, we're gonna have some funds available, and it might be the time to get something like that, but I don't know if we have to go that full, but, well, that's what we need to know is our options, what are the options to come up with something that's reasonable.
The automated systems will run you at 15,000 plus for an
Yeah, for
automated
the system
generator.
transfer, yeah.
That's just the system, that's not including setup.
Right.
Because you're gonna have to go through conduit and everything else.
Ms. B said, I know Darcy got that grant, it's a lot larger than what she is.
Not for this.
Yeah, that's for really specifically.
Yeah, you can include.
But we could look at other grants that are,
Emergency power.
most of those codes are public safety, so, but, I mean,
Yeah, it's a good and valid emergency preparedness spending, whether you're talking about ice storms or earthquakes or train wreck or whatever could take out the power here.
we do have some generators, and we didn't use them. We'll have Lance speak to it next week when we have his report, because there is some options, but we definitely are gonna look into this for you, and we'll start with technology. And
Yeah,
I mean, finance will be logged on there, so I can bring it to finance.
and it's good to have something a little more reliable than just wheeling up a portable generator outside and
Yeah.
running extension cords through the
Yeah.
door.
We were gonna do that.
Yeah, when it's 20 degrees outside, it's nice to be able to keep the door closed.
Yeah. It was really cold inside the building. Yeah.
Do we have any idea, would there be, in the city, would there any real be damage besides the occasional places, roofs,
Nobody got hurt as far as I know, but I think Clint got sick because he was out without power. I don't know the details of that, but he definitely called me and said he was
Yeah.
sick.
Because it's getting cold too long.
So that's a citywide, problem, and I think it's actually a region-wide problem, where they're gonna have to address the power, you know, what they're gonna do to strengthen it up, because we're building out. We don't have any more power to, you know, things like this happen.
Okay, any further council discussion? Anything else we need to add to the agenda last night? We are done.
Did you want to talk
Oh.
about
Oh, what?
the claims?
Yeah, quick claim. Staff has no action prepared for this, but we are now in receipt of the quick claim, so this is something that had come up in Public Works in a past council meeting. We were waiting for this, so just to get the process moving, Gary does now have his quick claim executed, and staff does have a copy of it, so I believe that that gives us enough notice that we should be able to get something on the meeting agenda for next week. I'm not,
Well, what kind of action?
I don't remember exactly what it was they needed council to approve on that. Remember?
Is it the purchase or something? I don't know that we can talk about this in open session either.
Yeah,
It's the same thing that I was talking with the attorney about. We need to discuss it, maybe in executive session.
Okay.
So I'll talk to her and bring back something for you next Monday.
Because it come up in open session that we were needing this in order to do the
I know.
sewer projects, but yeah, I don't know the exact status of.
And that's why our attorney said, investigate in closed session.
Oh,
And
okay.
she wasn't involved, but she needed, so I'll find out. I'll get all the things, all the information I need to check up, and then I'll bring it back to you next week.
Okay.
You could ask Derek, maybe.
Well, if there's something that
No,
the
it's
attorney
nothing.
would prefer we not discuss
Yeah.
in open session, then
Yeah.
we probably should not discuss further until we know why. Okay. Any further council business? No, executive session or?
Yeah, I canceled the meeting tomorrow, so the next meeting I have with the union is on the 2nd of December. So I need some time to put together a good, reasonable response, and then cancel it, probably next Monday. We're that good?
You can stay.
How many times? Don't worry, Kate, we'll be making up for this.
We are done.
This is me.
That's it.
Wow.